So I want to talk to you about harmonized standards, why they're important, how they can help us, and where we can find them. So I'm currently looking at the Machinery Directive here. We know that we need to comply with the essential health and safety requirements that are found in Annex I at the back when we're putting machinery on the market or we're designing it for our own use. Now, I'm looking at where are we? So 1.3.7, risks related to moving parts. So I'm thinking about a conveyor just to give this a bit of grounding. I've got a conveyor that I want to put on the market, and I need to think about how do I control, how do I mitigate the hazards with regard to moving parts. So 1.3.7 of the Machinery Directive of Annex I applies. So risks relating to moving parts. And what does it say? So the moving parts of machinery must be designed and constructed in such a way as to prevent risks of contact which could lead to accidents, or must, where risks persist, be fitted with guards or protective devices. Well, what does that mean? The issue here is it's quite vague, okay? So how do we know that we've achieved that or implemented appropriate measures that meet this particular requirement? Thankfully, the EU has provided a framework through the use of what they've called harmonized standards that we can apply specific technical measures or controls to stipulate that we have achieved 1.3.7. So if we think about a conveyor belt, there's the potential that the top of the conveyor, the moving item, is accessible to operators. Okay, so how do we know whether or not we have sufficiently controlled the risks presented by a moving conveyor? Okay, so what we have are these things called harmonized standards, and I will show you how to find them, and then I'll show you kind of what it is that they stipulate. Okay, in fact, I'm going to start with what it is they stipulate. So I'm just going to jump straight into a harmonized standard. And in the very back of the standard, you have Annex ZA, if we can get there. Where are we? So this is Annex ZA. If we scroll up a bit more, it's a particularly long one. So what this is stipulating, so this is communicating the relationship of this standard to the Machinery Directive, which in this case is 2006/42 EC. And it is stipulating that once this standard is cited in the official journal, and I'll show you where that is, then compliance to it provides what is called a presumption of conformity with the corresponding essential requirements of that directive. So in this case, the Machinery Directive, which is 2006/42 EC. So how do I know, or where can I find this list of standards? You know, we've jumped to the back here. We now know that if we comply with EN 619, we comply with, 1.3.7 of the essential health and safety requirements within the Machinery Directive. So what we can do, we can go up here, we can type in EU harmonized standards, press search, click on this top link up here, and this takes us to the European Commission's page and a list of harmonized standards. And this is where we're stipulating that the European standards have been published in this official journal. And if we scroll down, we can see all of these various directives. And if we keep going, we can find mechanical, we can find the Machinery Directive. If we click on that, it's taken us to the Machinery Directive page. There's a couple of helpful guides on here, actually. So you've got the guidance on CE marking for professionals. You've also got a very big document, about 450 pages long, answering kind of specific technical queries or bureaucratic queries about the Machinery Directive down here as well, which is really helpful. But where were we? If we scroll down, we can find this summary list of harmonized standards. So we can get this as an Excel file, which is quite helpful. We can search through it. So if we click on that, it takes us to this download page. I've already got a copy, so I'm just going to click over here. And what we can do in here is we can search for particular standards if we know what we're looking for. We can search for the names of standards. Now, sometimes that's a little bit difficult. So I know that I'm looking for EN 619, which is over here on the left. Now, and I know, because I've used it before, that the scope covers conveyor belts. But conveyor belts aren't actually in the title of the document. So there's a little bit of navigating to be done here. But the title of EN 619 is Continuous Handling Equipment and Safety Systems. And this one in particular is safety requirements for equipment for mechanical handling of unit loads. So let's say that we're talking about a conveyor that's handling, say, parcels in a delivery warehouse. So if we go to that standard, so I've opened this one up again, and we were thinking about the requirements of 1.3.7 of the Machinery Directive. So if we scroll down in here, we have 1.3.7. And this is the relevant essential requirement of the Machinery Directive. So here's a list of subclauses within this particular standard that provide a presumption of conformity to the requirements of the Machinery Directive. And there was a particular one that I wanted to go to, and that was 4.2. So let's see if we can find it. So 4.2.1. 1.6, which is just down here. So here we go. So this is for drawing in points. So if we've got the conveyor rolling on the top, and we've got the drive roller, say, and we've got it meeting another fixed item, we've got a moving part and a fixed part, how do I control that? How do I meet the requirements of 1.3.7? Of the essential health and safety requirements in that scenario. So this is stipulating that we're talking about drawing in points. The drawing in points shall be protected by guards, according to this clause in the standard. Alternatively, drawing in points are considered to be avoided, okay, sounds good, if the drawing in points are fitted with nip guards, which shall be designed to provide a continuous maximum gap of 5 millimeters between rotating and fixed/rotating components. Okay, great. And we've even got a figure in the back of this standard that gives us an idea of what that solution to the requirement of the essential health and safety requirement looks like. So we can flick down to C5, C1, got C5 just here. So this is your example of your nip, or no, sorry, that's C8. C5. So this is an example of your drawing in or your nip point. So if A, in any of these scenarios, is less than 5 millimeters, we can say that we have safely mitigated, we have safely controlled that particular hazard, and we've met the requirements of 1.3.7 of the Machinery Directive. So we've controlled it. So really, this is providing you with your technical solution to what might seem a vague requirement within the Machinery Directive. So this is a fantastic way of navigating the hazards that are presented within a particular piece of machinery. Harmonised standards are fantastic for this. They take away some of that ambiguity that the Machinery Directive requirements potentially present, and they remove that subjectivity. So there is a great place for technical standards when we're looking at compliance and safety with our machinery. I hope that has been helpful, and this might be useful for you. I'm Tom Chaldicott from Knox Thomas. Thank you very much.